Hi, I'm Linda Deir, the author of Guided. Her spirit guide angels were her best friends and life coaches. Guided is my true life story and winner of the 2017 International Body, Mind, Spirit Book Award. Since before I was 2 years old, I've seen, communicated with, and even photographed my spirit guide angels. In Guided, I use my own life as the template to teach you what I learned from these loving, intelligent spirits. Most importantly, I show you how to make the connection to your own spirit guides and angels so you can live a guided life, a life free of fear and doubt, the life you intended to live before you got here. In my guided journey, the companion journal to Guided, Part 2, page 14, I will talk about the search begins, spurred from a deep loneliness. Well into your teens, the void has become haunting, imagining the worst while holding on to some distant hope. Your longing is so strong for this love to return that you search everywhere out there to find it. Your anxiety separated you from the love, from us. So let's get started. When the fear returned, it brought urgent attention to the loneliness that had gone on for far too long. This awareness caused you to pause, becoming quiet and observant. You could no longer go about doing things the way you used to. Those were old, worn-out experiences, and if you continued doing that, you would be living a lie. The only thing it had to offer was predictability. While contemplating this, you even asked yourself why that wasn't good enough for you. After all, everyone else seemed to be going along just fine with it. This amplified the loneliness even more, guiding you to search for what was missing. You didn't put much more energy into wondering why everyone else was so content in their mediocrity. Your inner guidance that used to be so familiar to you had returned and took you on this journey of reconnecting with your real self once again. The real self that you largely left behind long ago. This is what you have been longing for. This is why the feelings of emptiness started to dominate your life. It was guidance shedding light on this needed course correction, a reconnection to yourself and to us. You realized that you were not like the other kids. You remembered something that you couldn't explain. But this wasn't the first time you recognized this. It's just that this longing had gotten to a point where you could no longer go on without fulfilling it. The search had begun. This is when you started writing your thoughts and questions into your journal. Doing this was the fast track to understanding what was really going on inside of you. For those of you who did this, your search to fill the void was easier. Alone time no longer felt lonely to you. It was now valued time to do the writing that revealed your inner truth. This practice is what brought you back as you nurtured your real self back into existence. The byproduct was that you were learning to live in two worlds, the one you came from and this one. You never told anyone what you were doing because that's what got you off track in the first place so long ago. Doing this journal writing is what stopped the inner torment, that nagging anxiety that consistently reminded you how separate you had become from your real self and from us. By the way, even though this was not a pleasant feeling, it was guidance pointing you in the direction of self-discovery and personal transformation. This is when you started loving yourself, when what you did wasn't dependent upon what others may have said or thought about you. It's not that you didn't care. It's that you had learned to care about yourself, independent of others needing to do that for you. You were finally getting to know who you really were. This was profound and not something you would ever attempt to explain to anyone else. Before you realized this, it was a never-ending problem because what you were suffering from and felt was missing didn't seem to be affecting anyone else. What was really happening is that both worlds were activated, which required a whole new way of functioning. Things were no longer as simplistic as they used to be when your world was just black and white, good or bad, or right or wrong. It was far more advanced and expansive than just living in that one world. You were on a journey of seeing things for what they really were, your part in it, free of fear and doubt.
So I had a revelation this week. I went back over some of the videos we've done so far. This will be number 14. I went back and looked at the timeline and looked back when you're a baby, say, from a baby to like school, elementary school, and then elementary school to junior high, and then through junior high, now we're in high school. We're high school age now.
Right.
It's 4 years after junior high before you went to college. And what I kind of noticed was, you talked about anxieties. Their anxieties are coming back about being in two worlds, living in two worlds. And I noticed that some of the anxieties are the same as when you were a baby. They're recycling. You're recycling old anxieties. Like, for instance, babies, when they're newborns, they have anxiety over people they don't recognize. They recognize their parents. Strangers come over and they're kind of standoffish, right?
Right.
Okay. And then they have, like, the first time a babysitter comes over to take care of the kids.
All the new things.
All the new things. Okay, this is just like what your people are experiencing in high school.
Okay, that's why I said in the opening part of the video that this is not the first time that these things happened. You recognize it once you start to feel this urge come out. It's anxiety, this uncomfortable feeling that you're feeling now that the search has begun. You're reaching. You want it. You want to know more. You know something's missing, but you're not really yet remembering that you used to remember it, like Ray's talking about, where it really all started when you were 2 years old. But that's where it really started. And what you did then is just you now at an advanced stage of, here we go again, okay? A new layer, a new level of this. What it's like is when you first came here as a new person, a baby, until you're, early teens or so, it's like your first book, okay? Now, where we are with this session right here, teenage years, and preteens, it's all beginning to recycle. It's your next book. It's your second book, okay? So that's really what's going on in your life. It's now a second shot at seeing what you've done before, the decisions you made, like this. As a little kid, you just made them. You were ill-equipped. You didn't even have the proper reasoning or information to make really good decisions by. But you know what? Now you do. Now you know more. And now you can make better decisions if, go ahead, Ray, if you take that moment to not panic when you find yourself feeling this stress in your teenage years, and you step back and you take a look at, you breathe and you take a look back at what happened. Again, you guys, that's why this journal was created. Part 2, page 1 through 18, each video that we do on these, for each page in part 2, that it takes you back so you can recall and write into your journal what happened back there for real, so you can then seam it all together, which we're going to help you with that in November, and when we're done with all 18 pages, and really identify what happened back there. It'll be so easy to see this, and it'll be so easy for you to know what to do next. No one's going to tell you what to do. You're going to know.
So in these teenage years, in these high school years, the search begins more intensely, because now you're remembering that there's two worlds. Okay? You
may not be remembering two worlds, but you're remembering something because this is activated. This is beginning to let you know that something isn't totally right. Okay? Something's missing. That's what you know.
Mm-hmm.
Where before, when they told you, when they catch you talking to your spirit guides and your
mm-hmm.
angels, and your parents or your siblings or somebody would say, "Who are you talking to?" You just go, like you were surprised that it was unusual, or that you shouldn't do it, or that they'd even ask you such a question. Now you were way past that. You were seasoned. You were ready to move to the next level. Well, really ready now. Okay.
Well, that's when parents and society start to interfere and tell you what to believe, tell you what to think.
When you're young, you mean?
When you're not. Well, so you become wary at that point.
You do.
If you're living in two worlds, really. They're trying to pull you out of the world you came from.
But the difference, Ray, is when you were little, you were living in two worlds without thinking about it.
Right.
You were just doing it on automatic because you just came from the other world, okay? And you just landed here. So you were automatically living in two worlds until they kept trying to derail you and question you from this world and go, what are you doing there? And what's that? And wake up and snap out of it and get out of your daydream. And they kept trying to pull you out of that. And now, so
you were more of an individual at that early age. By the time you get through grades, elementary school, and you get to high school, your main concern that I see is fitting in. You want to fit in. Well,
two things are going on, you guys. When you hit this teenage year, it happened in the preteens. We talked about it last week for page 13, and when the fear returned, and that's where you realize, you know that something is wrong. That's when you really know that something is wrong. And now you're just a little more advanced into, you're not shocked by the fact that something's missing and something's wrong. Now you're in your high school years. Now you just know it. That's why the search begins. You don't look for permission. You don't look for answers from somebody else. You're not putting yourself out there. You're not even telling them that you're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
You're writing. Here you are studying history in school, and in your history book you're writing these thoughts down. That has nothing to do with history. That's journaling. That's the little doodling you did. It doesn't matter if you had a journal and you wrote it in your journal, and you could say, "Oh, I didn't have a journal." Well, you did it anyway. You did it in little spurts and pieces. And
you had a diary, or you wrote in your textbooks, or
you did.
Your notebook.
Yes, at the back end, or you did.
Right.
You put it in your pocket.
Right.
You always hid the good stuff. You didn't want anyone finding that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you didn't want anybody to get into your diary.
But it's not your first go around. Is what I think what Ray's saying here. It's your second go around. The only difference is before you came in more connected to the other side than you were here. Now you've done everything where everyone will get off your back, where you've learned to function in this world, okay? And now you're realizing, wait a minute, something isn't right. Something's still missing here. Something nobody can seem to fill in this world seems to be missing. It's not that something was wrong with you. It's that you realized you left yourself behind. You pushed yourself away just to make this work, okay? You kind of panicked is what you did. And now you're putting it back together. You know that you You've got everything you need right now to put it back together. What you really have is you've got your new identity. On page 13, the fear returns. I talked about how the hormones kicked in, right, at that time in your life, and you literally were given a new identity by the fact that chemical shift in your body occurred. So you have your new self back. It's like your new skin. It's like you're new now, just like you were when you first came here. That's what woke you up. Did it feel uncomfortable? Oh my gosh, it felt so uncomfortable. That hormonal shift and who am I and what the heck's this, and I'm crying all the time and all this stuff hit you, and you're supposed to be able to manage that. What it was really trying to do was wake you back up so that you could begin to bring yourself back and function in both worlds and be in one piece again, okay? That's what was going on.
I think by the time you're in these high school years, and you do remember what it was like when you were little, you have a reawakening of some of those anxieties, like the first time you crossed the street by yourself as a child. I mean, that was scary. Now, the streets are just bigger, okay? You don't have to go across 2 lanes. Now you got to go across 6 lanes to get to the other side.
That's a metaphor.
Right, it's a metaphor. It's triggering the same anxieties.
Okay, got it.
Because now I think you are caught in between being accepted, going forward, and self-awareness.
And self-awareness, that's good. Okay, that's right. And what's the self-awareness part? That's where you like yourself.
Right.
Okay, so now you're not just invested in other people liking you. Now, who is this you that you want everyone to like? Who is this you that you want to learn to know? And do you like it? Okay, it's not something you can make yourself like. You're going to like it, or maybe you're not. And then you're going to make adjustments so that you can get it back, get yourself together again. And really, it's what you like isn't just one person thing. It's not who you came in as, just that raw person. It's not just the person you've become in this world. It's the combination of the two. It's how they work together. It's how it serves you, okay? Because when you have yourself together, you have this functioning and this functioning together, and you're together, you are together. I mean, you can make decisions now that make some sense. You're not vulnerable and lost like you used to be. You were never lost over here. But you've been lost over here because you were lost. Where were you? You had to get yourself back. All right? So when you feel that lost feeling, it's guidance letting you know you lost that. Get yourself that's here in this world and go bring it back. Go bring it back. And it's done through journaling. It's done through quiet time. It's done through reading books that shift you, that change your life, all right? It's done like that. So follow it.
So this time in high school is the being accepted for who you are. That's the big question. Will they accept me for who I am, who I want to be, who I remember I could be going forward? And I think there's more pressure put on it because now you are worried about dating new people. Okay, that's right. And so are you, again, when you were a kid, did you sell out? You remember kindergarten and first grade? It's all in here. You wrote it in the early chapters in here. It's in here. Did you sell out? Because if you did, the likelihood of you selling out again is greater than if you didn't. Okay? If you didn't sell out, then the likelihood of you selling out now and caving in and not realizing what's really going on here and how guidance is trying to get you to put yourself back together again, it's less likely that you're going to achieve that if you sold out when you were a little kid, if you caved in, if you let people push you around, if you let fear run your life and guide you. Okay, that's when you know. All right. Now, if you did that as a child and you wrote it in the early parts of before now in part 2, page 5, 6, right in there. If you did that, then you need to go back and find out
what that was, how it felt, okay? How it felt when you became page 14, which we're on today, the search begins. How it felt when you were a teenager, and write it in. Tell the truth. You can't go back. If you can't go back and revisit your life and put it in here and write it like it happened, not being a victim, not coming from emotion, but what it really felt like, and who you left behind, what you knew, okay, from who you knew and what you knew. If you don't write it in there like that, you're going to miss it. You're not going to get this, you guys. You've got to put it in there like it happened. Just take it all off, okay, and put it in there. And don't hide it from anybody. Nobody's ever going to see this. Then, when you get to this point where you see the teenage years kick in and what your choices were then, you won't see a lot of difference between chapter or page 4, 5, 6 and 12, 13, 14. You'll see patterns. You'll see cycles repeating themselves.
Right.
That's what you're going to see. And when you see it, okay, I could see it, Ray could see it, somebody else could see it, but you have to see it. This is called self-realized, being self-realized. When you see it and you know it, you wrote it down there it is. Now you can do something about it. But not until you write it down in the journal. This isn't about being right or wrong. This isn't about did you pass or did you fail. This isn't about getting an A versus a D. This has nothing to do with that. It is what it is, okay? And until you find out what it is that you did, can you look at the whole thing once you have it all written out and look at it like this and go, oh, okay, I see that now. And I see why I feel at my age now. What could you be? Like 20 or 30 or 50 or 70 or I don't know. Any age. There's no age limit on this. You get to that point and you go, now I know why I know I have that feeling. I know why I feel like something's missing. I know why I feel I can do it, but something keeps holding me back. Or I keep being drawn to the wrong thing. Why do I keep reaching out to the wrong people? What am I thinking? You'll find it right here. You'll find it after you're done writing in all these pages of part 2. All right? But you're right. This is another cycle, Ray. This is the second shot at it.
Right. Your second shot to, you lost your connection. This is your first opportunity to start getting it back.
Or maybe not. Some of you guys didn't lose your connection like I didn't, okay? And you didn't lose it there. You certainly haven't lost it now. You got yourself more together than most kids. And you might have been the one who did the counseling. You know, you were their best friend because you were the one that always listened. You were the one that understood. You were the one that could help them see what their problem was. You were their psychiatrist without getting paid for it.
So in this struggle in high school between being accepted and self-discovery, self-awareness, that you want to be you see the person you'd like to be, okay? The one thing I saw when I looked at that time period is the judgment got much more intense. Now you were being judged for everything. You were being judged on statistics. There's all kinds of statistics that told you weren't good enough. Okay, there was tests. That was the main thing in high school. Test after test after test. Test to get into the right, to show where you are in your class, where you are in the state. And now tests you have to take to see what kind of college you can get into. The better score you get, the better college you can get into.
And how do you like these words? Who will accept you?
Right. Which college will accept you? I was accepted at so-and-so and so-and-so,
I know, there it goes.
The accepting part is just pounded into you.
Right.
And that is where the feelings of lack, the feelings of I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not pretty enough, I don't, have the right friends, I don't live in the right neighborhood.
The overcritical society has affected the person that Ray's talking about, the person who feels like that. It's really had an impact on you, okay? This overcritical and cynical society, because it really is. It's not a society that really encourages self-expansion, okay? Where not only do you function well in this world, but where you're one with your other world and you're in one piece. Okay, there's not a whole lot of kudos and rewards for being a whole person. Okay, it's just way overweighted in this world, and you're feeling it just at the time your hormones are completely activated. Started in the last page 13. The fear returns. We're on page 14. The search begins. It started then, where you really, started feeling like, oh, something's missing, just before this heavy pressure that Ray's talking about started now at this time in your life. So you had that short period of time while puberty set in to giving you your new identity to become who you are out of that explosion of energy and transformation that happened even without any effort on your part. Okay, I mean, it was just handed to you, this new identity. Wow. It gave you courage you didn't know you had. It showed you anger that was dormant, that you didn't know was there. It showed all kinds of things up, okay? And it's all had a purpose, all of it. On the high road, it activated this part of you. And you became curious, and the search began, and you started writing like crazy. What is going on inside of me? What's going on? You were going back to find out what it was, and you bring yourself back. High road. That's the high road. Okay, the low road would be where you just completely either give up or cave in over here, where you just throw it all into this one world, forget that one ever existed, and just go full bore into this one, unconscious. That's really what's happened to our world, you guys. So many leaders, so many of the people who run the world are not coming from here at all. And all they are is overweighted in this. No wonder it's not working, okay? It doesn't work on any level, not in the government, not in the global community, not in your life, okay? You got to be coming from both places, and you got to be one, you got to be whole.
So how do people get like that? How do they get on the other side where they're so overweighted? So they're looking at this choice of being accepted versus self-realization. And from just being an observer, I think what I see is that being accepted wins out.
Okay.
With most people.
Then let me translate what that is.
And then what happens is, as they get into their 20s and 30s and their 40s, that's what causes that gnawing hole.
Right. Okay. Being accepted versus being
yourself.
Observant.
Right.
Okay. So you want to be accepted, as opposed to taking a pause, becoming observant, and letting this come back. Okay. As opposed to this, where you're trying to be accepted at all cost. The difference is you're living in fear. The fear returned on page 13, our last video. The fear returns. And then by this time, page 14, the search begins. You're just more invested in fear. You've decided to go this way and overweighted in this world and not even consider this one, the one you came from. Not even consider it. That's the difference.
This whole being accepted thing started when you were a baby, because you had the desire to be loved.
Right.
You wanted to be loved. You wanted to be accepted by your parents.
At what cost? At what cost? Right. Okay, so there's a balancing act here. If all you wanted was to love, and you do it at any cost, and you do anything to get it no matter what, and you didn't even think, because the love, you were so desperate for the love, you were so lacking for love, that there was just no limit to what you would do over here in this world to please everyone, to get that love, to get that love, to get that love. As opposed to, I like the love, but I also like, as a little child, I like to spend my time alone. I like to go play in the sandbox and be left alone and experience this world, because that's what you did.
This whole being accepted thing and its associated fears, I think, cause people to want all the things they want. They want cars and clothes and attractive mates and a house and taking sides to be accepted becomes part of the game. my sports team, my political party, my religion, and
Right.
they want to be accepted for all those things.
Right.
And it's the non-acceptance that drives them crazy, that makes them think, wow, there's something is wrong. I keep chasing all these things. I got most of these things. Why am I not happy?
Or why do I feel that void?
But the void.
That void.
A hole in your soul.
And that void is nothing more than your soul, that soul, that it is void, letting you know quietly but constantly, letting you know, because it never shouts at you, you guys. It respects you too much. This is your life. You have the free will to live your life like you want to, no matter what. If you just want to do this all the time and never bring your real self back and become one, they have no judgment on you. The guides, the angels, everyone who knows you from where you came from before you got here. They've got no judgment on you. You have all the time you need, okay? But it's you that walks around going, ugh. I don't feel like I'm fulfilling it. I feel like something's missing. And it is that part of you that came here, that new person that came here, that knows, that feels it, is missing, okay?
And people don't realize that this desire to be accepted and to have this and to have that, thinking that will allow you to be accepted by your fellow fans and friends and family, all leads to increasing the separation from your spiritual connection that you came in with, right. Your own life. You just
which only makes it's beautiful, right? Because what happens is the more separate you become from where you came from. By the way, it's the same place you go to when you're released from this life. The more separate you feel, the more you feel this void, this feeling, this it won't stop. And it's not trying to be mean to you. It's your soul reminding you. Your soul is what really brought you here, okay? It's the urge that brought you here because it knows why you're here. It knows what you intended to achieve in this life. So it's that's reminding you, hey, you came here. It's kind of like going, we came here to get something done, and we're just making sure you don't forget. All right. And if it has to be like this so that it kind of it's always there, it's kind of always pulling on you, and it's reminding you, it's guidance, it's letting you know, come on, let's get to work on this. Let's get around to living the life we intended. Okay? And that's what it's letting you know, because they know that all this stuff going on in this world is superficial. They know that this is not why you're here. There's lessons in it. There's things that you'll learn, and you'll learn about yourself. And the older you get, the more you spend time in this, the easier this is for a lot of you, because you've got your seasoned veteran. You know what you know that brought you to the point that you're at, that this is not all there is. You're really hoping that this isn't all there is at this point. That's why writing it all into this journal, so you can see what happened back there, okay? And then tie it together. You're going to see it. We're going to help you, but you guys, the more real you are with writing this into your journal, you're going to see it. You really are. We're just going to help you fill in some blanks that you may not have that you may have missed, okay? But you're going to look back and go, well, there it is. Oh my God. And not only did I do it here, but I did it here. And I did it over here to a lesser degree, but I still did do it, But at least I questioned it by the time I got over here, type of thing. That's what you're going to see.
You don't want to spend your life chasing all these things and become one of these people who, on the outside, appear to be very successful. They're very wealthy. They've ruined their health to get that wealth.
Oh, I know.
They are miserable people. They're not happy.
I know.
They don't have any family ties.
It's overweighted. It's overweighted. It's overrated over here, okay? It's not you. You never participated. Your superficial self, your persona, went to work full bore and just left this behind, Okay, that's what Ray's talking about here.
Yeah.
And you don't, even if you're successful over here, you're still, it's like you're dragging a leg. Half of you's not there. You know something's missing. If you feel it's missing, it is.
Yep. Yeah, and that's where you get at the end of this life, and you're ready to cross over, and you have regrets. That's what all this
And the regret,
chasing things to be accepted leads to.
Yeah, and what it is, it's your soul that came on your journey with you in this lifetime, that continued to send you the message right here. This is your truth center, you guys, right here at the core. It's the truth center, and it keeps telling you, and it's counting on you to get it. But let's say you don't get it in this lifetime, you cross over. The instant you find yourself on the other side, you look back and your life flashes before you, right? That life review. And you see it, instantly see it. And you just go, it's like a part of you is still unfulfilled. It's still reaching and searching, and it still wants to expand, but something won't let it. It just can't do it. So you go back to work with your guides and your higher self and everybody who's there with you that's been with you in this lifetime. And you guys collectively put another plan together, another lifetime together to come back here again and start from the beginning, that little tiny infant, that newborn baby, to work on it again, to listen to this better. If all you do is just listen to this better and start writing and start writing and start writing and start telling what's in there, okay? You'll pull out of this. You'll get your life moving in the direction you intended it to move before you got here, with all your guides and your higher self and everybody. And you guys, they're all there. They've just been waiting for you to be ready. That's all.
It's kind of like when you goof up a shot in golf and you get to take it over, you get a mulligan. You get another karmic mulligan. You get to come back and do it again.
You do. You do.
Hopefully you'll.
And it's not supposed to be
job.
Punishment, you guys. This is not punishment.
No.
What you know, that when it doesn't feel good, when you know you're still missing yourself, you know something's missing. And you keep filling it up with another boyfriend, another girlfriend, another job, another baby, another house, another car, another whatever. It's still there. It's another swimming pool, another vacation, and it's still there. You get to the point where you just go, I can't run from this. You're not supposed to run from this. It's a gift. It's a gift. It's reminding you so you don't miss it. All right? It's fun. When you finally hook into this and you go, okay, I'm going there. I'm going to go there. And I'm just going to let this show up, and I'm going to start doing my writing, and I'm going to start doing my reading, and I'm going to start doing my inner work, and I'm going to start, paying attention to the signs and the intuition and the dreams and when I'm driving my car, that intuition that comes through, and I write it in my journal and I don't lose it. And I start to figure out, unwinding my life and seeing what has been going on all this time. I've been overweighted in this world, and I pushed it away. Okay, when you start to pull it together and pull it back, oh my God, things will just start working for you. You'll know when it's time to do something and act on it. You'll know when it's time to get away from something to get out of it. You'll know.
And to stop chasing and start allowing.
And start listening.
Right.
And this won't feel like that anymore. You'll be on. You'll be plugged in. You'll be fired up. You will be working the way that you wanted to work, so you can live the life you intended. And you don't leave this world with regrets, okay? So it's all in this. This is My Guided Journey. It's a free download on my website. You can get it right on the homepage. And then you can go to the blog, lindadeir.com. That's where you get this. And then after you get it, go to the blog. And when you get to the blog page, go to My Guided Journey. It's the categories on the right. Underneath the categories, My Guided Journey. And you'll find all of the videos that we did on each page of part 2, page 1 through 18. So you can begin to write in this journal from where we remind you were. These videos are designed to wake you back up, to bring that back, that memory back, so you can tell it like it happened for you. Okay, everyone's different.
And next week we're going to talk about page 15, right?
We're going to have 15, 16, 17, 4 left after today. And page 15 is questioning everything. Is going to be page 15. So you're past the part where the search begins. You know, you pick everything up. You're journaling. You're thinking about everything. You're searching. You're wondering. You're observant. You got quiet. You start paying attention. And then when you start questioning everything, this is when this really starts. You start reading everything you can get your hands on, everything, to find out, where am I? Who am I? Where did I go? What's missing? I know something's missing. Nobody can tell me that something's not missing. But you know what? Nobody will tell you something's missing, because they're all missing it too. And it's like a collective missingness.
Missingness. I think you made that word up.
I did make it up. It's all collective. So it's a collective mindset that makes everything. It's okay to be overweighted over here. It's okay for this to be all there is. What do you mean? There's another world that we really are, another part of us that we left behind, the world that we came from. What are you talking about? I mean, if you're overweighted over here, you're not going to understand that. So that's why I always say, keep this guidance to yourself. Do this work. This is a quiet, inner, intimate journey is what this is. But once you get through part 2, page 1 through 18, then you move on to part 3. That's where you do the journaling of your day-to-day life, the dream you had, the messenger who showed up, the insight you got in the shower, and it didn't come from you, it came through you from guidance. When you were driving, and wow, all of a sudden you understand something that you've been wondering about. It didn't come from you, it came through you from guidance. So, by the way, get this book. This is a great book. This book will change your life, and this book will, Ray?
Restore it.
That's right. This book restores your life. So once you read this, you get what this is. Now you can get in there and restore your own life.
Great. I have no more questions or brilliant observations, so maybe we should
wrap it up
and let them know we'll be here next week. Same place, same time.
Same time, okay? And we'll be on page 15, questioning everything.
If you want to catch up, go watch those videos from 1 to 14.
Yeah, on lindadeir.com blog, and then to My Guided Journey on the right side in the under the categories. I've written a series of videos in support of the readers of My Guided Journey, the companion journal to my flagship book, Guided. Each week on Facebook Live, I talk about your journey back to the beginning, when you first made contact with your spirit guides and angels. They haven't gone anywhere, even when you ignored them or didn't realize they were there. In these Thursday Facebook Live videos with me, you learn how to journal your hidden knowledge, documenting your life journey, revealing who you really are and why you are here. When you follow this, you not only get your life back, but you will never doubt yourself again. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.